So, Hell Tuning Invasion is the talk of the town. I've seen a bunch of people in Discord servers calling this a new Tier 0 meta threat. It is not quite that good, but it is quite strong, and it solves every problem the Royal Rebel deck has, except for losing to Shield and Sword, and Widespread Ruin. The biggest thing is switching all monsters to attack position, meaning the opponent can no longer set 3 and pass until they kill you, like they could with the Red Eyes variant. Additionally, by lowering the opponent's monsters by 4 levels, it enables both of this deck's bosses. Heavy Metal is able to out maximum monsters by reducing them below level 8, and Invasion will destroy any level 8 or lower monster on the field. These 2 bosses combine to make a very potent deck. We are running no other high-level monsters. You could consider including a copy of Rocker, but I found it doesn't really need to do so. And keep in mind, Invasion and Heavy Metal are both trying to attack directly with their highest payout options, meaning Rocker doesn't do anything. For the rest of the deck, we are running as many Fiend monsters as possible, including the level 1 Fiends that enable King's Majesty. We have a copy of Ghost Cyclone here to remove spell and trap cards. However, you could go ahead and consider using Roa's version as well. The Genie's Fire Breath returns a card to their hand, and if the opponent is playing one of the new maximum decks, drawing fewer cards can brick them, especially if you're sending something like a random Recital or Barrier back rather than the Widespread Ruin. In terms of other new cards, Shadowbuyer is quite good. Keep in mind, Heavy Metal only needs a single level 5 or higher monster, so if you have a Shadowbuyer in hand, you don't need to activate the skill, and that means you're going to be able to attack with your other monsters. If your opponent controls 3 monsters, Shadowbuyer becomes level 7, so it is able to attack even under the skill lock. Currybot is a small advantage engine, and it will sometimes come up. Hell Tuning Invasion requires you to discard a card, and you can discard one of your Currybots and then use the other one to generate value. Monster Reincarnation is necessary when we only have 6 bosses. We don't need the new Tribute to the Doomed, as Heavy Metal is already a maximum out. You could even consider cutting the Talismanic Seal Array, but I am using it as another way to push for even more damage. Heavy Metal can destroy 1 monster, and then you can weaken another and get in for a huge 4,000 semi-direct attack. And another thing to note, the skill will only lower the monsters that are level 5 or higher. So if your opponent has a level 7 monster, like Dragias, it will become level 3. So a field of Gazelle and Dragias will now have Dragias being the lowest level monster, meaning Heavy Metal becomes 5,000 and can destroy the most threatening monster even if they have the Widespread Ruin. The other new addition, Cobalt, is simply a Mystic Dealer, and obviously consistency is great. We are running Recital, as the skill does require a discard, and if you're discarding 1 card and using 2 monsters as tribute to summon a Heavy Metal, that is 4 cards, and you are often going to be running into situations where you have a lone boss monster on field. Recital is the best way to not get blown out when that happens. So, this deck has a really good matchup against maximums, and it's also able to bully its way through most other decks. However, it isn't tier 0. The 0 defense monsters do come back to bite you. Shield and Sword is still a popular legend choice, and additionally, the new Thunder deck is able to take full advantage of 0 defense monsters. If you have no cards in hand, Trigger Drago will switch that Heavy Metal to defense mode and inflict 2,800 piercing damage. With that, let's head into the games. First up, we have a match against another Roa. They are going to set 3 cards face down and end their turn. Unfortunately, our Ghost Cyclone is not live, so we are going to set a bunch of cards as well before bringing in Nessus the Star Knight and swinging over one of their set monsters. They reveal a light Aqua, and then show that they are on Magician's Shuffle. Dark Magician Girl is going to search out Dark Magician and then discard it, allowing them to get a 2500. Fortunately, they did not go for a dark magic attack. Silverwolf will debuff my monster before being tributed off for a Dark Magician Girl. They attempt to swing in, and I use a Widespread Ruin to destroy the Dark Magician Girl and keep one of my monsters alive. It's our move, and we draw. We find an invasion, so we use Monster Reincarnation to ditch Currybot. I use Currybot's effect to get it back, and then use the skill to buff them both to level 5. Invasion comes in and is able to destroy both of my opponent's monsters. Then we have the 2 Nessus the Star Knight, and although they cannot attack, I decided to put them in attack mode. They normal summon out 2 copies of Gazelle, and then treat off for some Gravity Press Dragon. Gravity Press Dragon uses the effect to debuff, and it clears Nessus the Star Knight. It's our move, and we draw no high-level monsters. I make a slight misplay here by putting the Shout in attack mode. I was thinking with Talismanic Seal Array, I would debuff their monsters, but in the end, I choose to attack with Nessus the Star Knight to clear Gravity Press Dragon, and simply leave all 3 monsters on my board. We pass over to Desland, and they draw. They set 2 monsters, but then tribute them off for Dark Magician Girls number 1 and 2. They are ready to battle and destroy my 2 non-invasion monsters. Due to a slight sequencing error, they are unable to clear invasion, as King's Majesty stops the attack. It's our move, and we draw another Currybot and no high levels. We are going to just clear the Gazelle, bring them down to 900 life, and pass. Our final remaining set card is a Ghost Cyclone that has been dead all game. They activate Seahorse Carrier before tributing it off for another Dark Magician Girl from the graveyard. I don't think they needed to actually use the effect here. They have plenty of cards left in hand. They swing in and clear my board. However, they are not in as good of a position as it might seem. We draw for turn, and we find the one and only Royal Rebels Heavy Metal. Ghost Cyclone is finally alive, and we destroy the Widespread Ruin, as they have made the mistake of destroying all 3 of our monsters. And this means Heavy Metal is able to come in and destroy Dark Magician Girl before swinging for a full 2500. Had they just left me a monster, Widespread Ruin would have led to a devastating counterattack. We are up against Yuga, and we draw an incredible opening hand, including a Widespread Ruin. However, we are choosing not to activate it, as we plan to clear the board with Invasion. We draw into King's Majesty as well, but we just set 3 and pass one more time. Again, all 3 high-level monsters are allowed to stay, as now we are going to Hell Tuning Invasion into a full board wipe, and our monster is protected by 3 set cards. One of them is just Monster Reincarnation, but they do not know that. We bring in Seven Sword Witch and activate Seven's Axel Road, searching out the Seven Sword Magician in order to clear my monster. Magical Stream unfortunately hits the Widespread Ruin, but King's Majesty stops the first attack, and Royal Rebels Invasion goes down to Witch, without losing too many life points. Activate the Currybot, and I do make a mistake with leaving a Currybot face up here, due to setting it before using the skill. Invasion clears the board and swings in. They make a counterattack after using Seven's Axel Road to boost over Invasion. Our board is clear, and we once again draw no high-level monsters. Fortunately, no Turn of the Windweaver, and that means we are able to find our second and third Invasion. Activate the effect, use Shadow Buyer, clear the board, and we swing in for game. Curtain of Sparks is not enough to stop us. Next up, we have a game against Snail. They open up with Dark Femtron and Atron plus a set card. This is a really interesting and weak board. I wonder why they don't set the 2 monsters, but I choose to just play it without even activating the skill. I summon Invasion and summon Nessus the Star Knight in an attempt to beat over them normally. However, they do have the Widespread Ruin, and that is going to clear out Invasion. Nessus gets in for 500, and we are forced to pass turn. They draw for turn, and then summon out 2 pieces of Yggdrago before activating Maximum Ragnarok. They lower both of the Yggdrago pieces down in order to tribute summon out Sacred State Soul and a Hydron. Hydron is able to boost itself up using its effect. And then we take a ton of damage. We go all the way down to 600 life points remaining. It's our move. We do have the heavy metal here, but I don't want to use it. Instead, I activate Monster Reincarnation to send Heavy Metal away and get another low-level monster in order to simply survive the turn. Obviously, if they somehow draw into all 3 pieces of Yggdrago, we would lose here. But instead, they summon 2 additional copies of Hydron and clear my board. It's now our turn, and we find Royal Bubble's Invasion. Ghost Cyclone destroys Monster Reincarnation, and we set some cards before using the skill to flip them up and wipe the opponent's entire board using Invasion's special ability. With this, we are able to hit in for 2300 and back it up with a copy of Music Princess's Recital, meaning they're going to need 2 big monsters in order to clear this. Unfortunately, with 2 copies of Femtron and Maximum Ragnarok, they are going to be able to bring in both a Sunglasses and a Yggdrago head. They use Sunglasses' effect to debuff my Invasion, but thanks to the effect of Music Princess's Recital, they miss sequence, attacking with the wrong monster first, allowing us to stay alive with 300 life. We draw for turn and find the one and only Royal Rebels Heavy Metal. Shadow Buyer uses the effect and increases itself to level 6, meaning Heavy Metal's effect is online. We destroy Sunglasses to gain 2300 attack, and then, without using the skill, we are able to attack with Descendant of Titans, and we finish off the game.